Hi there traders and welcome to the week ahead market commentary for the week commencing the 16th of October. So we're going to analyse Bitcoin, the S&P and the dollar basket DXY as always. We're going to start with Bitcoin. And you can see nothing really changing. We're just sort of like in the larger picture. We've got this sort of like range here between sort of 29,600 and 31,420, and the lower range at 24,200 to 25,600. But we've just developed this sort of like mini range on the daily chart in between this. You can see it sort of like happened earlier on as well, sort of back in sort of May time. But we've just got this little range that develops with the resistance at 27,720 to 28,515 and the support at 24,825 to 25,620. So we need to see breakouts from that miniature range. I think if we start to see breaks there to the downside, then we could see some more downside down into this support here at 18,240 to 19,890. Any upside breaks, still we would have to clear this main resistance at 29,600 to 31,420. But if we can start to see some sustained breaks above this resistance, then we will start moving. We can start looking for moves up, so longs up into this resistance zone. But once we get into this resistance zone, we should be looking for opportunities to short to bring us to keep playing this range until it breaks. But as I say, if we start breaking below this zone, the support zone, then we may see further liquidation down into the next zone of support down at 18,240 to 19,890. So that's the Bitcoin. So now let's go and take a look at the S&P. Okay, so we've had to adjust this zone slightly here. So we've adjusted it up to 43.40 to 43.90 again. You can see that it was support, and it's come and tested that here as resistance. So we've just got this sort of close back below the zone. So further downside movement below this, we've got sort of like a continuation on a breakdown and retest of that zone, and we can start to head back towards the 41.60 to 42.15 zone of support. We could see that if we see some downside momentum this week, then that should be the target. We can look for shorts down to that target. If, however, we see some upside and we see real sort of sustained breaks and acceptance back above 43.40 to 43.90, then we could see further higher pricing up towards that 45.60 to 46.10. But we want to see this upside movement, and then we want to see this zone held on any retest. So if we start to see some acceptance above here, any sort of corrective retest down into this zone would then suggest that we can start targeting this resistance up here. So it will be key quite early on in the week, see what sort of momentum we get either way on the S&P. So now let's go and take a look at the dollar basket. Okay, so in the recent commentary we have been speaking about how we have now seen acceptance above this zone of 104.70 to 105.90, and we can see quite clearly here we've sort of come down, we've retested, we've got a really strong continuation candle on the daily chart, so that sort of suggests that we could are going to be heading up towards the next zone at 108.10 to 109.30. Obviously, if we start to see some downside momentum back below this zone, that will change the bias. But at the moment, if we start to see some upside momentum, that upside momentum continue into the week, then this bullish momentum will continue up to sort of like that 108.10 to 109.30. So what does that mean in terms of FX pairs? This is showing dollar strength. So you may see some further weakness in pairs like euro dollar, GBP US dollar, Aussie dollar, those sorts of FX pairs, as a dollar strength as a dollar is stronger against the other currencies. Obviously, that also may mean that sort of US dollar CAD, US dollar yen, those sorts of pairs could continue to see some upside as well, as long as the dollar strength remains intact. So that's really that is quite an interesting development. We have sort of like, we are looking like we're holding this as support on the retest, and therefore as long as we continue to see that sort of upside momentum going into the week, we can expect to see that continue up to that resistance zone. Okay, any questions, please fire into the chat. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week's trading, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.